I would rather smile in my Toyota than cry in my Lamborghini. Are you the same? Would you like to be the happy broke man or the depressed millionaire? Again, I would definitely be the happy broke man. The happy broke man has his mental health and physical health in check, whereas the millionaire only has money. Most of the time, I'd say 9 out of 10 times, if your mental health is in check, your physical health will be in check as well. And most of the time, just because you have money, your mental health necessarily won't get better. Now, you can get all the psychotherapy in the world, but that won't mean shit if you keep continuing your bad habits, which result in bad mental health. So, what are these bad habits that most of you do? For most young men, it's playing video games, going on social media, watching porn, and eating junk food. The thing that most of you get wrong is that you try to cut out all of these things at once and you fail and you get back on them the next day. The thing that you need to be doing is that you need to reduce these instant gratification activities to the bare minimum and add in delayed gratification activities in their place. When I say bare minimum, I'm telling you to implement Pareto's principle. This is a productivity tactic that pretty much says that 80% of the results come from 20% of inputs. So think about it. What are the 20% of instant gratification activities that give you 80% of the pleasure and start doing them instead? Now you've cut out 80% of instant gratification activities, which is massive. Now you're gonna free up some time to do anything else. Now you can't be sitting around looking at the sky all fucking day. So you must add delayed gratification activities which are gonna improve your mental and physical health immensely. Now you can have some problems with your mental health if you've been indulging in these instant gratification activities for some time. And by problems I mean anxiety or depression. You can treat both these things with the activities that I'm about to mention. And no, you don't need to take meds. For anxiety, I recommend you do exercise, meditation, and deep journaling. For depression, I recommend you do exercise, meditation, and gratitude journaling. You can normally tell if you have anxiety or depression, but just in case you don't know, you can Google mental health test and you'll find a good test in your country and you can gauge where you stand. So, meditation is quite straightforward out of the list. The best and the most common practice of meditation to do is mindfulness meditation. Literally start with 5 minutes a day. That's the lowest you can go on any meditation app. The app that works best for me is called Oak. Just search for it on the App Store or on the Play Store and you should be able to download it. Mindfulness meditation is the simplest one out of them all. Just be mindful of your breath going in and your breath going out for as long as you can. Once your attention starts going elsewhere, notice it and then bring it back to the present moment to your breath. After you do 5 minutes a day consistently, then you can increase it up to 10 minutes and 15 minutes and so on. Now, how does meditation help resolve anxiety and depression? It helps resolve it by killing your amygdala. The amygdala is the oldest part of our brain responsible for the fight or flight mechanism, which means that it's responsible for detecting threats and responding to them. So if you have high levels of anxiety, that means your amygdala has more control over you compared to your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex, or the PFC, is responsible for logical thinking, and it is the most advanced part of our brain. And that goes out the window when you start strengthening your amygdala by doing instant gratification activities. By doing meditation, you strengthen your PFC so that you don't get immense anxiety when you get put into anxiety provoking situations. I'm telling you, I've been through the worst anxiety in my life in the past 2 years, and meditation has helped me resolve it, at least somewhat. I need to do more to fully overcome it, but considering what I was like before, this is worlds better. I have included to do meditation for depression as well. This is because it really does help with depression. Imagine being more clear headed and rational when making decisions. You will literally kill your depression right then and there. And combined with the other activities that I mentioned, your depression will literally go to zero. Depression is quite emotional, and you take emotions out of things when you have a strong PFC. To be consistent in any delayed gratification activities, I recommend you keep a habit tracker posted up on your wall. Just write the date and activities next to it and tick them off as you do them every day. You only need to do a small amount of time at a time to tick it off. Remember, we're trying to build the consistency of the habit in the early stages. So gratitude journaling is the next easiest to implement delayed gratification activity. To do this, literally take any book. A journal will be better. And write down the date. Then write down 3 things that you're grateful for that day. Make sure it has meaning behind it and make sure that you don't repeat yourself over and over again every day. Gratitude journaling has proven to increase happiness over a long period of time. I'm not going to cite the studies, but I'm sure you guys can do a quick Google search and find it yourselves. Just because every day you're thinking of things that you're grateful for. You're grateful for the little things, which increases the happiness over a long period of time. You being happy in the long term decreases your depression as well. This doesn't cost you a cent, and it's a surefire way of reducing your depression, so why not give it a try? The next one on the list is deep journaling. I have said that this is good for anxiety because you want to be finding out the thought patterns that lead to the anxiety. Literally write down anything that comes to your mind that you may think leads to your anxiety. Don't censor yourself or edit what comes to your mind, just write it as is. After you got all your thoughts on paper, that's it. Your anxious thoughts will literally go away because you gave it the time of day. You'll feel a big sense of relief after you've gotten everything down on the paper because now you can look at the big picture. If you don't do this, you'll be ruminating on the same anxious thoughts over and over again and you won't even make sense of what's happening. Okay, now for the hardest delayed gratification activity to implement out of them all: exercise. What the hell do you do for exercise? I'd say if you're brand new to fitness, just get your body moving at first. Exercise also means healthy nutrition. This means that you should be eating healthy, unprocessed whole foods 90% of the time. When I say get your body moving, it can be anything from a home circuit workout to going for a jog on the street. Once you've done that consistently for some time and you've been tracking it on your habit tracker as well, then you can join the gym. We want to get you the real benefits of exercise through lifting weights. Your self-confidence will skyrocket after you start lifting weights and you transform your body. And what happens then? Your anxiety and depression is more likely to decrease and your self-image becomes stronger as well. So now you know that you need to lift weights, but how do you know where to get started? It's simple. You start with the most basic compound movements to build your foundational strength and stability, which is bench press, deadlifts, and squats. I recommend you look at how to properly perform these movements. There's a billion videos on YouTube showing you the proper form of these exercises. Once you develop your foundational strength and stability for 2 to 3 months, you can then go on to do a combination of compound and isolated movements. Without any stability and basic strength, it'll be harder to do isolated movements, so you see why I recommended you to do compound movements first. You will see what we call noob gains in the first year of training. You need to maximize this by eating at a caloric surplus and eating high amounts of protein as well. Caloric surplus literally means eating more calories than you burn. You must definitely bulk if you're skinny or skinny fat. Only if you're overweight, you can eat at a caloric deficit. If you do that and lift weights, you will lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. This is what we call a body recomp in the fitness industry. How many calorie deficit or a surplus do you need? I recommend you keep it at around 300 calories. You must add or subtract this calorie deficit or surplus from your maintenance calories, which can be found with any TD calculator online. Follow these calories by tracking your food through an app called MyFitnessPal. I recommend increasing or decreasing your calories by 50 calories every time your weight goes up or your weight goes down. In terms of protein, I recommend eating 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. If you follow this to a T, and you'll gain muscle at an exponential rate no matter your body type. Combine them with good sleep, around 8 hours of sleep a night, and you will be literally unstoppable. Remember, as cliche as it sounds, consistency is key with all these habits. No matter the amount you do with all these activities, make sure you stay consistent. Make sure you tick off that box in your habit tracker no matter the amount of activity that you do. You get an immense sense of reward once you do this, so you'll be more likely to not break the chain. Stick to these habits for 6 months or more and your life will change and you'll never go back to your instant gratification activities again.